Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of Southern Fried. Look, if you chose to watch today on our YouTube channel, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is that there's a change of scenery. We're not in the studio today. I'm in my wife's, technically she calls it our office, but it's her getting ready room is what it is. But she calls it our office. So that's where I am today. Since the beginning of this show, I wanted Southern Fried to be like all about people of the South. No matter your background, no matter who you are, whether like we agree on everything or we disagree on everything, like I wanted all types of people, backgrounds, life stories, experiences to be on this show. That was like a goal of mine. And a big goal, like to me, a way to accomplish that was to ask people every episode, who should I get? Like who should be on the next episode of Southern Fried? And from all of the like people I know who have texted me and DM'd me, there's been a name that comes up a lot. I have this friend that people know. I think she's surprised so far. I have this friend that I think a lot of people, think is great because she is, but has a cool story and great life experiences. And so I've had this name come up a lot and have finally, in 12 episodes, asked them to join us on Southern Fried. She's not only a talented musician who has my personal favorite cover of Jolene, okay? And that's hand on Bible true. But she's a great friend from running around Birmingham and the tail end of high school to getting to be a groomsman in her and her husband's wedding. I'm fortunate to know this person and love her family. Please welcome to Southern Fried, my friend, Bailey Tolbert. Hey, Bailey.
I'm about to cry. That just made me emotional. Thank you. I'm really surprised. I was not expecting that.
The other night, so like right when the podcast started, people are like, you should get Bailey. Like Bailey would be great. And then the other night we're at dinner, like my family and my wife, Abby, you know Abby. And I'm like, guys, I need somebody new. And they're like, haven't people told you to get Bailey? I'm like, yeah, they have. Like, why haven't I texted her yet? And then you were gracious to jump on quick. So here we are.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you. Seriously. And thank you for requesting me because I'm so excited for this. I was telling Charlie, like, I haven't done anything like this. And it's so crazy when you like reflect on that because you have to actually think about the concept of time. And I'm like, wow, it's been 5 years. So this is like probably the first time I've done anything like this in 5 years. So what better opportunity than this to come out of retirement? So thank you for having me because I'm honored and I'm a big fan of the show. I know I was just telling you before now, but me and Trent listen to every episode and we love it.
And I trust you. I told you that Trent, last time I saw Trent, he was very inquisitive about it. So I'm very thankful for y'all listening. My handful of listeners that exist. Y'all are some of them.
Hey, we'll be able to say one day, like, we were part of the core fan. Yeah, we were like the people who built the fan base, really.
Yeah.
Truly.
We got Thanksgiving tomorrow. What are the I just kind of want to know your plans. Before we get into anything, are you a big Thanksgiving person? Like, do you have big plans? Yeah. Lay it all out there.
I feel like it's a trend lately, I guess maybe with like the uptake in like health and wellness, but people are like, I don't like Thanksgiving holiday food because it's like not healthy. And I'm like, I don't care. I love sweet potato casserole. I love green bean casserole. So I am a big Thanksgiving person.
Good. So this is hand on Bible. I never thought I'd be this person, but the past couple of years, my sister and I, we turkey trot in the morning. So I'll get up and I'll turkey trot with Caroline.
Are a turkey trotter?
The past couple of years, Caroline and I have turkey trotted, and
that's special. But wow, okay.
And Abby, well, this is our first married Thanksgiving, and Abby's like, it was almost like a turnoff to like. She was like, I can't believe you're doing this. Like a couple of years ago when we were just dating, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do the turkey trot. She was like, I can't marry into a turkey trot family.
I was gonna say it does say a lot about someone, but it's you could also look at it from the lens of they're investing in their health, and that's always something to be thankful for long term, I guess.
And is it so much that I want to be healthy, or do I want to get up for like 2 or 3 more servings at the dinner time? And so then I just kind of justify myself like, well, I ran this morning.
Okay. See, here's my problem. I don't, and I still justify myself. It's like I don't want to work out, but I'm still like, okay, I'll have seconds, thirds, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's Thanksgiving. That's okay. And so we'll trot, and then Abby and I will do like my family here in Birmingham, and then Friday is the Egg Bowl, which is probably when this will release. So if people are listening to this when this releases, I'll be in Starkville Friday. We'll leave Thursday night, just like crash in Starkville Thursday night, wake up, go to the game, and hopefully see an Egg Bowl win. So that's our Thanksgiving.
Okay, so I'm not a Mississippi person, but
Mm-mm.
that is the game between Mississippi State and Ole Miss. It's like y'all's Iron Bowl, correct?
It's our Iron Bowl. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, so and
Yeah.
y'all say, "Go Bulldogs"?
We say go Bulldogs. We say the most Hail State.
Hail State, yes, yes, with
Hail
the cow.
State's like our Roll Tide or War Eagle or the
Okay,
other thing that the other school in Mississippi says that I will not say.
okay, yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
and
will
I will
root for
never.
you. I'll root
Thank
for the
you.
Hail State.
Oh, okay. You have some.
Yeah,
You all right? You heard it here first. Bailey said she'll root for Mississippi State. Bailey has friends of the other schools, so
I do. I
that's
do, and
fine.
I'll apologize right now to Hayden Holly, but I am
Yeah.
in Hail State this week for
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
That's my thank you for having me on.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. All right, Bailey. Why don't you tell us where you're from?
Yeah, so I'm from Birmingham, from Hoover. I went to high
Hoover. Yeah.
school with Charlie. For those that don't know, I knew Charlie kind of in high school. He's smirking
Yeah.
because
It was really the tail end.
it was the tail end, but
I was still in high school because
yeah,
I'm young. I'm young and fresh and vibrant.
yeah, and I'm an old
Yeah.
geezer. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I went to high school with him and married his best friend, and that's how we became friends. Really, I can credit Charlie for me and Trent because I knew Charlie before from like SGA and stuff like that. But anyways, long story short, I'll give you credit for that as well. One
Yeah,
of the
at
main
just
reasons.
at least small. And it doesn't even have to be big, but maybe like I was around when it
Well,
sparked.
you were one of the main reasons that like, because we were both me and Trent were really awkward. So like, you were at least a mutual friend that we could be like, oh, let's hang out. Like, oh, Charlie, oh, you want to hang out? Oh, cool. Okay, Trent can hang out too. Oh, great. So, so yeah, born and raised in Birmingham. I went to Hoover, graduated from Hoover, and I did online with or at the University of North Alabama while I
Yeah.
was doing music, obviously, which I know we'll go there, and then moved to Nashville when I was 18. So
Yeah. Which is insane. What and we'll get into all that cuz I do want to talk about Nashville and like what that was like. Cuz honestly, you know, I've heard some things about Nashville. We talked about like your time there, some, but I have never even like sat down and been like, what was it like,
yeah,
to go there? So we'll get into that. But how did you enjoy growing up in Hoover and Birmingham? And you like, I know your family, y'all loved the river. Like, that's kind of what was your growing up in Alabama like, and did you enjoy it?
yeah, I loved it. I really did. I think for me, growing up in Alabama, I have a lot of Southern roots. Obviously, I'm from Hoover,
Hmm.
Birmingham. You don't think of that as like, oh, well, I wasn't raised out in the country, but
Yeah,
my grandparents, they live on the Warrior River. They have my whole life, and my dad was raised out there. And so for me, it was just a lot of really kind of what I feel like I hope that I can give my kids because I feel like we're kind of getting away from that as a society. But,
yeah,
just playing in the dirt and, being
yeah.
like, having to, like, make fun and use your imagination and stuff like that, and then
Sure.
also a lot of my childhood was water sports, playing, at the river is my childhood is what I think of, and a lot of my friends too, their childhood, just always
Yeah,
having family and friends down there. I loved it. I mean, I think as you grow up and you get to, like, middle school, high school, experiences kind of change and evolve because you're going through different phases of your life and different chapters and seasons. But as a whole, growing up in the South, I would have not had it any other way just because I love the pace of life. It's slower and I feel like
sure.
there's more to do. There's more. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I really like that. I think a lot of people who aren't from here, like aren't from the South, would think of the
Hmm.
South as like there's not a ton to do and like there's
Yeah,
not. But it's like, yeah, like, and sure, I grew up in Hoover too, but like I grew up with the woods right behind my house. So like what I
exactly.
did for fun was like me and my neighbor. I remember one time like me and my neighbor were digging just like in my back. We were just digging. We were digging a hole in my backyard, and my mom comes outside and is like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know." Like and she's like, "Yeah, you just keep like we just made our own fun. Like
Make
that's
your
what
own
we
fun.
did."
And,
Yeah.
like, I remember my neighbors, Kylie Morgan and my sisters, we would play jungle, and we played jungle till we were way too old, like, we should not have been playing jungle. But we would play jungle, and I can remember, like, we would always get in so much trouble because we would be digging up my mom's plants, but we didn't realize they were her plants. So in our head,
Yeah.
we're like, "No, no, no, these are vegetables for our soup, mom, like, chill."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but really, we're digging up these, like, brand new plants that she planted a week ago, and she like, "You're grounded, we're in so much trouble," but, like, no, in our head, you're using your imagination and you're drinking water from the hose and you're
Yeah.
just I don't know, I loved it. I will say, like, as you get older, like I said, high school was a little bit of a different experience for me, but that's also just because of what I was going after, and I think there's just a different there's different levels of maturity, and I know we'll go there too, but I loved it. I think it's funny, though, looking back now and saying that, I think if you had asked me when I was still in school, I would be like,
Sure.
"Heck no, I'm never coming back to this place. I'm gonna be long gone, and I'll just be a name." But now I'm like, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm back here and thankful
Yeah.
for the experiences that it gave me."
Yeah. All right. You talked a little bit about, we don't have to go too far into this. I just think this is probably one of like, everybody has their pieces of lore about themselves. And I think this is a cool one about you. But you wakeboarded competitively. Right?
I did. My
Can you talk about like getting into that? Where you, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
wakeboard. Yeah, that's so
Well,
cool.
like I said, like, my childhood was literally the river. Like, I mean, if we didn't have school, we didn't have anything going on, that was just where we pretty much lived growing up, I feel like, in
Yeah.
the summers, at least. And so my dad was a professional skier. He skied at Callaway Gardens for years, and so he had
Okay.
us I mean, he had me on water skis when I was 2, the kind that you, like, sit behind the boat and they pull you up, and then
That's crazy.
from there, it was, like, wakeboarding, kneeboarding, all the water sports. So that was really, like I tried other sports growing up. I tried, like, cheer, like, I feel like most girls
Yeah.
try, and then
Sure.
volleyball and cross country and stuff, but that was just really what was more natural for me. So when I got to I guess I started, like, in middle school, I my dad was like, if you really wanna pick this as your sport, then let's just
Yeah.
go after it." So I was like, "Okay." So started just literally spending all my time down at the river and just literally, honestly, throwing myself at the wall because it was just, trying to learn trick after trick after trick, and you're going
Yeah.
so fast, so you feel like you are just slamming into a wall, and anyways, I did that for a while, and I loved it. I did,
Yeah.
but, I mean, where am I gonna go with that? So at some point, it got to where it's just I mean, I still do it now. Actually, I say that. I haven't done it since I had Quinn, but, like, growing I mean, I still will do it for fun.
Yeah.
And it was great, but, like, there's not so with the league that I was in, there wasn't really many girls that did that, obviously.
Sure.
There were some that were, like, awesome, and, like, I see now, like, there's kids on Smith Lake even that are, like, 6 years old, and they're, like, throwing fricking flips and tantrums and stuff, and it's like, "Dang," and air Rayleigh, but,
Yeah. Oh
anyways,
yeah. Air Rayleighs. Sure.
Charlie, you can't do an air Rayleigh, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do one, just for anyone if you're wondering, can't do that. But I was competing against a lot of, like, guys. I think there was one other girl, in mine when I would compete. I got to a point where I was like, "Okay, this is just, like, not." And I actually do remember my last competition I did, my mom was like, "We are done. We are not doing this anymore," because like, crashed and hit my head so hard that I was, like,
Oh.
seeing stars, and some guy, like, had to pull me out on a Sea-Doo, so I was
Oh
like,
my
"Alright,
gosh.
I feel
Yeah.
like I'm doing this now because I think this is cool, and this is probably really not good for my brain." So,
Sure. Sure.
now it's just for fun, but
Well,
yeah.
hey, and the amount of concussions that Trent, your husband, it
Oh,
probably was good that that one of
one
y'all
of us
stops
has
getting
to Yes,
concussions. Yeah.
yes, one of us has to be, okay in 20 years to take care of our kids still, and it's probably not gonna be him based on the amount he's had, so even to this day, when he's doing something, I'm like, "Please watch your head." Like, we can't afford another brain injury. We really can't.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just so cool. I don't know. Maybe it was like the first time like we were at the lake together and you hopped on a wakeboard and did something crazy. Like I was like, what the heck's going on? Like, who is this person?
It
And
is
you're
a
just like,
fun
yeah,
party trick. It is a fun
yeah.
party
You're
trick
like, I grew up doing this. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
because a lot of people, like, don't. Like, I feel like if you, like, grew up and even if you did grow up doing it, a lot of people, they can just get up and ride, which is still impressive because, I mean, any water
Yeah,
sport, I think, is, but I feel like a lot of people aren't ju I mean, they just a lot of people's parents probably like, I look back and I'm like, "Did y'all love me?" Because, like, they were like, "Yeah, go ahead." And my dad would be like,
well,
"Try it
yeah,
again,
and
try
like
it
we
again."
were like I would tube, and
Oh, yeah.
I will never forget the first time I like knee boarded, and I thought it was so cool when I knee boarded, and I was
Yeah.
like, and but it's like the fact that you can like flip on a wakeboard to me is just I think that's insane. I think it's insane that people can do it. I think it's insane how much air you can get over a wake. It's just
It
cool.
is.
Okay.
And it's really cool when you watch someone that's, like, can really, really ride,
Mhm.
and they're so effortless. It's like, "Holy cow." Like, oh, man. And now, of course, I have Quinn, so I'm, like, not as motivated to try to, like, do it and
Sure.
maybe hurt myself, but, like, before her, there were, like, summers where I would be like, "You know what? I have nothing to lose." Now I'm like, I have everything to lose, so probably can't be trying that. But it's crazy, like, what people can do, but I will say, you are risking a lot for the reward is like, it's cool, I can do this. Like, it's not like, so when you're
Yeah.
risking the chance of like, I mean, I would literally like come up out of the water. I have like memories of like my nose is gushing blood. I'm like coughing
Oh.
up blood and I'm like,
Oh.
okay. So that's when I'm like, Mom, Dad, did y'all love me? Because my dad would be like, get back out. You're good. And I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
you say so.
So cool. And you wouldn't have that if not for this experience you've had, like
Yeah,
raised here and raised down there.
exactly.
So that's kind of where you're from, like where you grew up. But at least I think a big part of your story is kind of what you were talking about, where you moved after high school.
Mhm.
And so you moved to Nashville a little bit, for a little bit, to play music and be a musician. What about music like pulled you in from a young age? Like what do you love about music? All the influences on you.
So music for me has always been a part of my life from a really young age. My dad played guitar. My grandmother played piano. She sang at church. And so from a very young age, I was captivated by music and just what it can make someone feel. I think for me,
Yeah.
the biggest thing and the biggest really just motivator and what I really held on to throughout all the years and of my journey and things I went through in each chapter was it was something that made me feel something every time I listen to it. And the cool thing about it is it attaches memories, a song attaches
Yeah.
memories to it, but also too it can be like a healing power for you. So whatever the song is about, whatever you're going through, you can listen to it in a different stage of life and you're going to feel something different. And that was kind of what music meant for me, but I grew up around it for I mean, my whole entire life. So young age, I was doing show choir camps and just stuff like that. Got to middle school, was in
Sure.
choir, high
Classic.
school,
Were
show
you a
choir.
summer show offs person?
I was. Oh my gosh, I yes, forever. So
Okay.
long, and then I became a counselor, and then I
Whoa,
choreographed
you were
with
a counselor?
I
Oh
was
my gosh.
yes,
That's
and then
big
I
time.
I
Wow.
would be I was like their, I don't know what they called it, but I wasn't like the choreographer, but for holiday show-offs, I was I guess, is that just an instructor? Like, I would watch the
Wow.
videos from a choreographer, and I was responsible for, like, teaching all the kids in the
Big
camps
time.
and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a big deal, so
That's cool.
but
Yeah,
that was where I haven't done it
I
in
didn't
so
know the
long.
summer show off side of you.
You didn't know that? Yeah, forever. I love them. They're great. They're such good people too, and what they do for honestly, like, that was one thing that their mission is instilling confidence through song and dance, and I
Yeah.
1000% would credit that a lot of the confidence I had on stage to them. So
Oh, that's so
yeah,
cool. Okay.
I did that, and then high school comes around, and I honestly, I wouldn't even say I ever really had a dream to be, like, the next big thing and didn't have the plans of moving to Nashville or even trying
Yeah.
that. I think I
Yeah.
always trying to think of what I said I wanted to be, which I think I probably would have said I wanted to be a nurse. Because even now, some days I'm like, "Oh, I have to go back to school and be a nurse." Because I don't know, I
Yeah.
love taking care of people, but anyways, it just wasn't on my radar. So my freshman year or no, were you in high school when this happened?
I don't Oh,
Yeah.
is this um
Well, I don't know why we're
I don't know. So either your freshman or sophomore year, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, I think I wanna say it was sophomore year. Anyways,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
my mom was like, "Okay, well" actually, no, I'm gonna back up. My grandmother died when I was 13. And she was always a so big about like, "Oh, you're gonna be a star one day." Like, she was so kind and loved music too. And so when she passed away, they asked if I wanted to write a eulogy, and I was like, "Not really." Like, I don't love speaking in front of people,
Yeah.
but I was like, "You know what could be kinda cool is I could write a song," which at this point, I'd never written a song before. And
Wow.
I was
And
like,
this is at 13.
13, yeah, 12 or
Okay.
13.
That's
So I was like,
impressive.
"Well, like, I'll just write a song for her." And so that was the first song I ever wrote. And at the time, I played piano because it was just the easiest thing to me that can be self-taught, and I play
Yeah.
everything by ear. I learned music theory down the road, but by ear is how I've done everything up until then, and so I was like, "Okay." Well, a couple days before the funeral, the church director was like, "Hey, our piano's broken." And I was like, "Okay."
Oof.
I don't play any other instruments at this point. My dad played guitar, and I had always grown up around the guitar, but the closest thing I'd ever done to playing was sitting in his lap and, like, strumming while he made the chords.
Yeah.
So, he was like, "I could do this for you," but I was like, "Well, this is my thing, like, I wanna do this for her, and I think I could learn at least 3 chords, like, let's just see." So, I locked myself in my parents' room at the time because that's where our desktop was, and I taught myself Scotty McCreery, "See You Tonight." Have no idea why it was that song. I mean, I liked the
Okay.
song, but I wasn't, like, a
Yeah.
big but for some reason, I was like, "This
Scotty
sounds like a"
McCreery, great pool.
I'm like, "Hey, thank you, Scotty."
Yeah.
For some reason, I felt like it sounded like an easy chord progression, and it was like G, D, E minor, which are like the easiest chords. So,
Sure, yeah.
I know that you're like,
Hey,
you
that's
play
all
guitar.
some people can play. That's all some
I was
people
gonna
can
say, don't
play.
you play guitar?
It's like, God,
Listen,
G,
man,
D, and E
anyway.
minor, like really hard. You throw a C9 in there, and oh my gosh, that's difficult.
But exactly. So like, I
Yeah,
taught
those are
myself
the
that.
first 3 chords I learned too, for sure.
They're easy. They're
Yeah,
easy. They're easier. But,
yeah.
guitar's hard. So, anyways, I learned those 3 and played at her funeral. And honestly, my passion for it still wasn't really born there either. Like, I
Oh,
loved it,
okay,
and I was thankful for it, and that was when my passion for songwriting came up, though.
okay.
I wasn't then like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a star." I was like, "Oh, okay, like, this is cool. This is a good outlet."
Yeah.
I love that I can do this. And I wish I could like pull, I mean, I'm sure I can find them, like some of my old songs from those eight. Like it's so I'm thinking of one right now. I'm like,
I
oh
would
heck.
love to read 13-year-old Bailey's
Like
songs.
I'm sure I was like, he doesn't love me, he'll never love me, like, just stuff like that. So then so that's I'm 13. Well, then I'm 14 and I'm in high school and my mom comes home one day and she's like, "Hey, one of my friends was telling me that 1025 The Bull, the local radio station, is
Yeah.
playing or is holding a like radio show contest. You can submit a video and you'll get to sing with Keith Urban." And like me and my sisters, we're all making fun of my mom. We're like, "You're funny." Like she's not like they're like she's not gonna sing with Keith Urban because at this point
Sure, yeah.
I haven't taken voice lessons. I'm not trying to do anything.
Yeah.
And, she's like, "Come on, just do it, like, it'll be fun." And I was like, "No, it won't be fun." And she was like, "All you have to do is post it on YouTube and send it to them." And I was like, "I have to post a video on YouTube of me
Yeah,
singing?"
now it's out there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "No, if anyone sees me, like, they will think I'm the biggest loser." Like, no. In high school, that this kind of stuff is like
My gosh, yeah, it's
yeah.
crazy.
So now, people just post whatever they want, then it's
Yeah.
fine. But like for me, back then, I was like, I cannot. This wasn't, there wasn't social media really. There was, but like it wasn't like TikTok now where you do that. This was like,
But yeah,
so I
yeah.
was like, I'm not doing that, mom. Well, of course, mom gets her way because I was like, okay, I can tell this means a lot to her, and I'm not going to like crush her. Also, I'm like, I live under her roof, so like I don't really have. I got
Yeah, well, if she wants me to post on YouTube, I will, yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, fine. So I do it. And then I think I told one person, I don't even remember who it was. I told one person I did it. Other than that, I was like, no one's gonna know. People find out, of course, because I'm sure they
Yeah.
were like, LOL, Bailey Engel over
Yeah.
here thinks. And so it did get out, and people at high school are brutal, and they were not very nice about it. They're making
Oh,
fun of me. But other than that, I didn't really think about it. It never crossed my mind that this could be an opportunity. So I'm just like, nah.
so you
Well,
never really once thought they'd click your video and be like, "Yeah, we'll pick her."
oh my gosh, no. Like, I'm thinking about this video right now, like, in my basement, and no, like, I never thought I really was like, "Honestly, I think those radio shows are a lie. They're not gonna even see my video. It's just a good
Yeah.
marketing scheme." That was my thought. So, I don't think about it much, and then a couple weeks later, I get an email, or maybe my mom got an email, that I was selected to be in the finals. So, at that
It's
point, the top 3
crazy,
get
that's
sent to
so
Keith
cool.
Urban. So then he gets to choose the winner. So, like, the finals were picked by the radio station, but then we get to where he's gonna be, and at that point, I was like, "Well, this is."
They gave them to him.
Yes, so they picked top 3.
Wow.
They gave it to him, and then he chooses from the
Oh
3.
my
I mean, or
gosh.
so they say. This is what we were told. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I'm a little skeptical now from that industry, but all that to say, that was an email. I was like, "Okay, cool. That's a win in and of itself." Like, Keith Urban, that's really cool. Like, I love him. So, he'll see
Yeah,
me sing, and I wasn't like, "Man, he's gonna see me sing and be like, oh, she's the one. Let's bring her in."
sure,
So, I'm in health science class in
sure. Do you
at
remember the
the
teacher?
Hoover Hall, Miss Robinson, yes.
Okay, nice,
And
nice.
I was sitting there, and I literally remember this so vivid. I'm sitting there, and I get a phone call from a number, and it was, like in class when there's nothing left to do the last 10 minutes, so they're just like, "All right, bell's gonna ring, you're just kinda hanging
Yeah,
out."
you're just
And
chilling, yeah.
I had, like, 3 friends in that class, and they weren't there that day or whatever, or maybe they saw the video and weren't talking to me anymore, I don't know. But I was not doing anything, so my phone starts going off, and it's a number, and I don't answer. And then I get another call from that same number, so I'm like, "Well," so I answer, and they're like, "Is this Bailey?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Hey, it's Major Tom from 1025 The Bull." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I just wanted to call." And I was like, "I'm sorry. What are you saying?" Like, I was so confused because I really was like, "I'm getting pranked. This has gone too
Yeah.
far now."
Yeah, and it's yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "No, no, like, Keith Urban picture video. You're going to sing with him at the Oak Mountain Amphitheater Friday night. This was like a Wednesday. And I was like,
Oh, I'd be like,
what? He was like,
too
we're going to
nice.
call you in like 5-10 minutes to do like an on-air interview. And I was like, I'm in health class. I can't right now. I'm a little busy.
14.
Yeah. I'm like, can you call my mom? So I was like, I am in health class right now, but I can probably be free in like 15 minutes when the bus takes me back to the main campus.
You have to go to Mr. Hewlin's office and be like, hey, can I
talk to my principal first? So I literally, he's like, okay, yeah. So he calls me back. I've gotten on the bus. I'm leaving. I'm literally walking off the bus when I see the phone coming back. So I'm like,
this is so funny.
I just start walking down the carpool line. I'm on the phone and I'm like, literally just still like, it was still so candid because, you know, they're giving you a heads up so you can prepare for what you're going to say. But I'm like, I'm 14. I'm in high school. I'm literally like, did this as a joke. I still feel like y'all are pranking me. I feel like I'm over here, like there are like cameras somewhere or they're about to blast this onto like high school surround sound and make fun of me. Like, what's going on? And no, it was real. So I did that. And then 2 days later, I went and I played at the Oak Mountain Amphitheater. I sang the duet We Were Us that he does with Miranda Lambert in front of 13,000 people.
When you like applied for the competition, did you know you were going to sing with him?
Yeah, so that was what it was. It was just to sing with Keith Urban. But again, I was like, I was just thinking like they probably already have someone picked, but they're doing this to look like, you know, like that's a really cool like campaign his publicist came up with is what I'm thinking. Until I'm sitting in a trailer backstage and I'm like staring in I'm literally like that whole day I got to stay there and hang out and he was so, I mean, truly to this day, I will say Keith Urban is probably the most genuine person I met in that industry. That's and awesome. Even after that, I saw him several times. I went to the Grand Ole Opry when he played, and I was backstage with him and his manager, and he is a great, like, person.
That's awesome.
But I still was like, this is so, like, there's no way. So that was, like, the start for me, I guess you could say. It was, like, the day. I feel like everyone.
I don't think I've ever realized that was, like, so that's really, like, your first, besides the funeral, like, public. Like, kind of by yourself. I mean, you're with Keith Urban, but you're like, that's the first time you're really kind of by yourself, putting yourself out there in front of people.
Yeah, I will say I did do the talent show in like middle school.
Okay.
But like, you know what I mean? That's not like my big break.
Like, no, but that's, that's just, you hadn't played like a solo.
No, like, I probably.
Like you hadn't like played at Troops before, you know, like you hadn't even done that before.
That's no. That was never even on my radar, even at that point. And even like doing the talent show, it was not, I wasn't like, I'm going to be a star. Like, not that I ever was or am, but I was just like, okay, like, cool. Like, this is just something fun to do. And so after that, though, it was literally, I remember I did like step off that stage and I was like, okay, like that was the moment I feel like everyone has where they're like, I'm like, this is the dream for me at that time. Like, I'm like, this is what I want to do forever.
Wow. Mom,
Dad, I'm dropping out of school. Not really, but that was, I mean, I'm sure I had that conversation. My parents were like, okay, screw your head back on. We'll have to figure out an alternative for that. Yeah. So, after that, and that was when I really was like, okay, like, well, how do I do this? Like, how do I make this a reality?
Yeah.
And then I just really kind of dove headfirst into just like researching and figuring out what the next steps are. And then I started writing a lot more, and then I started collaborating more with writers. So my parents would literally drive me. Like I would get out of school or they would check me out of school on a Monday, Tuesday, whatever. They would drive me to Nashville. I would write with as many people as I could in like a 24-hour period, come right back and go to school. So that was for years. My parents, I really like I'm so thankful because they've always been the kind that were like, whatever your passion is, we're going to fuel it. And even when it made 0 sense for my dad to take off work and drive me. I mean, there was a night I remember I found out I was playing a show in Texas, found out on a Wednesday and the show was on a Friday.
And this is in high school.
This is in high school and flights are so expensive. And I was like, ugh. And so, and I didn't want to fly by myself because I was like, I don't know anyone here. Like, what if this is a serial killer that's going to chop me up? Like, found me. I don't know.
And you would think that. You would.
Yeah, you know, of course. That's like my second job is FBI detective. Everyone knows this. So I'm over here like, well, my dad, without hesitation, just hung up the phone, called me right back, and was like, all right, I called in, switched my shift. He was a fireman at the time. I switched my shift. We can get on the road in a few hours. Let's go home and pack. And I remember we just got in the car, drove to Texas, did this show, made a thing out of it. We came right back that Saturday after. And so it was just, I honestly, the reason I was able to do it, and honestly, I think the reason I believed in myself enough to do it was my parents did. And my parents were like, whatever this becomes, like, this is important to you right now. So therefore it's important to us. And so, which also I think is a lot of what made me who I am, as far as just like knowing kind of, I was so sure of who I was and what I wanted because they were so sure of it too. Yeah. So that kind of became my whole high school. And then of course, I started playing shows locally. Not really anyone that wanted me to. I was like, sure, let's do it. So played anywhere and everywhere. Oh, lots of nights at Beefs. Lots of Beef O'Brady's was actually the first show I played after Keith Urban. I'll never forget.
Okay.
That was the first place I played. Love them. The McClooney's they're such good people. And I played a lot of shows there. And at that point, I feel like I was still kind of defining my journey and my dream of what I wanted it to be, because you got to think I'm 14 years old when this happens. So I'm like, I'm a kid. Like at the time, of course you don't feel like you are, but you're a kid. And so there's so much development going on mentally and emotionally and all that. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want. And I think I was just seeing like, okay, I'm going to be able to just do what I love, sing in front of thousands of people, make them feel the way that music makes me feel. What an honor that is. What a dream that is. And so that led me to Nashville. And so I get to Nashville and okay. I feel like my story, this is everyone's story, but when I tell mine, I like forget all the pieces of the puzzle and I'm like, okay, wait, where's this piece go on this timeline? But I played at a funeral, and in the audience was the tour manager for Widespread Panic, which is like kind of out of left field.
You were just asked to play at a funeral, and this
yes, it was a friend of my aunt's wife.
And you're still in high school?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I'm trying to. My timeline is I was like 17 or 18. My timeline is literally Trent. I'm like, was Trent in my life during this or not? Because that's like the easiest North Star for me. I'm like, where was Trent during this? So I feel like, I was 17 or 18. I think I was 18 for sure. I couldn't have been more than that though. And so I was singing at this funeral, and in the audience was the tour manager for Widespread Panic.
Okay.
And he was like, he somehow got in touch with me because the person who had passed was one of my aunt's friends. Okay. And so he reached out to my aunt. My aunt put me in touch with him, and he was like, hey, Dave Schools, who's the bass player for Widespread Panic.
Okay.
He is he really is looking for an artist that he has a project for. Like, are you interested? I'm like, no, not at all. Because just to be honest.
Also, like, hey, like, this was a funeral. Like,
I'm like, show your audience. Like, you don't even know my relation to the deceased. Like, what's going on? So he's like, I just said no. I was like, I'm honestly not that interested, just because it's Widespread Panic. And I mean that like so respectfully. It just wasn't my genre. Like, I was country. Yeah. And so
everybody has their own genre.
And my aunt followed Widespread Panic. So like she was a like groupie for years. Like my mom's youngest sister, there's like a pretty big age gap. So when I was young, she was in college. So I'm hearing like the drama of like, where is Ashley this weekend? Oh, she's at another Widespread Panic show. So I'm like, Widespread Panic must be bad. So I'm like, stay away. No, nowhere near me. So I finally though, I like talked to my parents about it, and I prayed about it. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I should just hear this guy out. So they were coming and they were playing at the BJCC. Okay. So right before they played, I met them in like, I guess the coffee shop or restaurant of the Sheraton or whatever that hotel is that's connected.
It's where I asked my wife's parents if I could have their blessing, actually.
Wow, special things happen at that.
Crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow, okay. Yeah. Yours is a little bit bigger, but so we have lunch or dinner or whatever it was. And I was like, basically it was like, hey, I have this opportunity with a label in Nashville. They are wanting to record some projects at Johnny Cash's cabin in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And I want to like pitch some of your stuff if you can just send it to me. And I was like, wow. Okay, like Johnny Cash's cabin, you had me there. So I was like, sure. Like, and he was like, I'll give you full creative control. I understand that it's very different than I'm very different than what you are and like what you're looking for, but you may not even really know what you're looking for until we get there. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So
did you expect, like, again, did you expect the Widespread Panic guy to be so chill about like whatever you want your sound to be. Like we can figure it out.
No, I didn't even know what I expected. I was just like, I didn't know. And like, he's like the sweet, like he's such a nice guy. Like teddy bear, like great. Like, but I'm
That's
over
so
here
cool.
like, what is going on? Like, who is this person? Like, he's being so nice to me. Like, and he really was. And so I was like, okay, well,
That's
like,
cool.
and I was pretty straightforward. And I feel like just getting into industry at a young age, you have to grow up so fast. And I was like ready to hold my own. So I was very straightforward of like, I would love to do this if you want me for me, not for the person that you think you can make me into. And so they were like, yeah. So I submitted my stuff and then we went back and forth with the label and they were like, okay, yeah. So they took me to Nashville. I had not moved yet. And so I go into Johnny Cash's cabin. That's where we did all of it. And the engineer, Chuck Turner, he has worked on a ton of different records for a ton of different people. And the coolest part of this all was the people that were playing on it, like the Elvis. No, Elvis didn't.
Whoa, he came back for this?
Yeah, Elvis did some crazy stuff, y'all. The conspiracy that he's not dead. Right. No, his drummer for, and I forgive me because I can't remember what it was for, but one of his drummers, Gene, no, I can't remember his last name. I want to say Simmons. It was not Gene Simmons, but his drummer played a drummer for one of his projects played on it. The guitar player for Marty Stewart, he played on it. Gosh, I mean, people that have played for Jason Isbell, John Mayer. So I was in the room with all these amazing, like just the most talented people that you can even imagine. And it really was so cool. You're standing in this room and you're like, wow. I think like the day that I was there, Loretta Lynn was literally leaving the studio. Like I didn't see her, but
awesome.
And like I got to sign the mantle and I'm signing the mantle and I'm looking at like Dolly Parton's name and Willie Nelson's name. And I'm like, I'm putting my name right here. Like they stood here. So it was like the craziest experience. I'm so thankful for it. I, the stuff that the production that came from it wasn't exactly what was talked about and what was expected and what I had like hoped for, which kind of leads me to what I'll get into about the industry. But it doesn't take away from like how grateful I am for that opportunity and what it allowed me to do and just the experience. It was awesome. So, yeah.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick. I hope you're enjoying this episode. It was one of our longest ones we've done. Bailey just, she has so many good things to say, and her time in Nashville is really cool. So we talked for a long time. But I want to jump on and just say thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting Southern Fried. I've been hearing from a lot of people recently that they're listening, and I cannot tell you guys how much I appreciate it. Please continue to do so, continue to share so that we can keep hearing from people and explore the South through those people that make it up. If you're listening to this when it comes out, it's the day after Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. If you want to give me a little gift as Christmas is now approaching, tell your people about Southern Fried. That would just be a great way to support the show and what we do. All right, enough talking. Let's get back to the show. So that's your first, like, Nashville, ish, like, experience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, aside from, like, going there to play shows and writers' rounds and, like, write and stuff, my first experience, like, recording and just having it was pretty crazy.
Was that before or after you had moved there full time?
This is before, so I hadn't moved there yet.
And so then after that, was that when you were like, all right, I'm moving and I'm going to, try and do this as much as I can all the time?
Yes. So after that, I mean, it was a couple months in the making and, but I ended up signing a record deal. And that's what really was like, okay, I'm getting to Nashville because this is obviously it doesn't make sense for me to not be. So I moved up to Nashville. I'm 18 and I'm like, man, the world is my oyster. I'm about to be Carrie Underwood famous. Like that was kind of, and I spent, the next 4 years traveling, writing, touring, getting to play with a bunch of different artists in different places and really getting to go across the country and just all these cool, I had such it took a turn obviously and I'll get there, but I never ever would have done anything differently because it made me who I am and I got to experience and do some of the coolest things that I honestly was never even able to like dream of them because they seemed so far out of reach for me.
Sure.
When you're a teenager, but so signed a record deal. We released In Love with the Memories and it was around that time though during the releasing of that and like filming a music video that I started to realize I don't have the control that they told me I did.
Which that song, you, not to interject too much, but
Yeah.
you wrote that song, great lyrics. I love the song.
Thank you.
Somebody else recorded it, right?
So
Like originally?
I wrote it with Emily Brooke, who
Okay.
was one of my roommates, or she was my roommate, one of the roommates I had while I lived in Nashville. We were really good friends. We're still good friends. She was in our wedding, and she is so
She was one of
talented.
the people in the wedding?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You didn't realize
I
that?
guess I just didn't put
Okay,
together like
to
she
be
is the
fair
same girl.
no, yeah, to be fair, I had 16 bridesmaids. So, like,
Man, I should have told her I really liked that song. That would have been nice of me.
well, I'll pass along the message.
Yeah, pass it along.
But so we wrote it together. She released it
Okay.
first, and I loved her version, and it was more it was a little bit more like pop country, and I loved it. The way that we did mine, it was a little bit I felt like it was a little bit underwhelming for what we had just done, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
And I think it was a little bit it was definitely not what I was expecting, and my manager, who was the one that was at the funeral and got me in touch, he ended up becoming my manager. And he was
Nice.
great. Like, I have nothing bad to say about him. He was amazing at advocating for me, and even during the process of like, "Hey, this is not what I wanted," he was very much on the same page as me and on my side with that. But you get to a
Yeah.
point where so much money has been put in and you're kind of in this industry, what I learned was, I mean, they put the money in. It's kind of like, I say jump, you say how high, and that's just
Yeah.
expected. And so for me, it was like
Which is so interesting. Like you have, I don't know, they sign somebody, and I'm not in the music industry and I have no idea, but you sign somebody who has a sound and who can write songs a certain way.
Mhm.
To me, it's just interesting that you, like, why'd you sign them if you want them to do something different, you know?
Right, exactly, and that was the hard part for me to understand, especially at such a young age. I'm like, "Well, you told me that you really liked what I was doing, but then if you didn't like what I was doing and wanted to make it into something else, how did you know I could make it into something else? Like, what is it that you
Yeah.
saw in me that made you want to work with me, that made
Mm-hmm.
you be like, 'She's moldable?'" Probably just because 'cause I'm young and naive. Like, I hate saying
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
all that to say, my manager, it was nothing to do with him. He was so and after I left this record deal and was able to walk away from it, I still worked with him until the very end of my music career because he did have my back and he did help with just so much,
That's
just
awesome.
a lot of it. I'm very thankful for him.
Yeah.
And he recognized, and I remember one day he looked at me and he was like, "I have to ask you this. Like, are you happy with how things are going?" And this was before I
Mm.
had even admitted it to myself because I was scared. I put all of this into something that I thought was going to be, my big break. And then I start realizing, okay, wait, like this isn't what I was expecting this to be. And
Yeah.
then of course the doubt and like, I don't want to say I was brainwashed, but I think you're, it's presented to you with like oh, look at how cool this is you're doing this. Like, look at all these people that are loving this. Look at all these people that wish they could be you. Look at all these people that, oh, they don't even dream of going to Johnny Cash's house and meeting his
Mm.
son and seeing
Mm-hmm.
this, and you're just kind of like, okay, like, I
Yeah.
guess I need to be grateful, and I guess that means I
Yeah.
need to
Oh,
shut
I
up,
guess I'll go
kinda.
along with it. Yeah.
And so, for me, it was like I didn't wanna even admit to myself that something was off about this whole thing because you hear record deal and you're like, "Okay, that's it. I'm successful. This is the
Sure.
dream accomplished."
Yeah. I thought you were, I thought you had made it.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I'm like, "Okay, something's weird, things aren't adding up, I'm being told this," and then I start just noticing down to just, like, wardrobe stuff, like, when they're picking out clothes for me for shoots or for, uh, music videos or even just, like, the idea of a music video, and I'm, like, trying to interject my opinions or interject what I feel, and it's kind of like and they without saying it, along the lines of, like, "You're young, like,
Yeah.
you'll figure it out." And it just enough got to be enough, and I finally looked it in the face of like, "Hey, this is not what I wanted. This isn't" for me, music was never about being rich and famous. It was never about being
Mm-hmm.
successful. Yes, it was from at a point when I was younger, it was like about being on stage in front of all these people, but for me but
Mm-hmm.
at the core of that was because I wanted to make people feel what I felt when I heard music. And I wanted
Yeah.
to be able to like bring healing to someone who's going through something hard and or bring someone joy during a dark time in their life or
Yeah.
it wasn't, "I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna have this many followers on Instagram, I'm gonna have this much money in my bank account." Especially when you see the bank account of an artist starting out, it's like, you're not in it for the money at first, trust me. And so, for me, it really was, I just wanted to do it because I loved it, and I'm sure there was some, like, self-righteous part of it as a teenager, you're like, "Oh, well, people might like me and think I'm cool,"
Well, yeah, I mean,
Um
it's so wrong to be like, it'd be cool to like,
Right, it'd be cool to be
tour.
famous and
Yeah,
and
I mean,
have tons of
whatever.
money,
But I think you've said the whole like this whole discussion that it was about like the feeling that you
Yeah.
had, and I loved earlier you said like when you started too, it was just like the like therapeuticness of just like writing songs and like getting to
Mhm.
sit down and put these things on paper.
Absolutely.
And I think people, and it's cool that you're talking about this, like get so much wrong when they look at an artist or they look at somebody on screen, and it's like, well, they didn't start this to like, I don't know. It's such a good like reminder of like why people really do things and like
Absolutely.
what got you, like what got
Yeah.
you into it was more than just,
Yeah.
being Miranda Lambert.
Exactly, and I think that is it, and that's another thing too, is, like, I always try to be very, very careful about making sure people know, like, this is my journey and my experience, but I have friends who are
Mhm.
still in the industry, and just because they've stayed in it, and there does not mean that they've given in to what the industry is telling them to do, what the industry is telling them to say. I fully believe
Yeah.
that you can have a journey where people understand you and want you to be you, and you fit the mold that they're looking for. For me, it was just maybe wrong place, wrong time, I don't know, but I look it in that face one day and I realize, like, wow, this version of me that they're really trying to go at is just not who I am.
Sure.
So I talked with my manager and we had an attorney look over the
Ooh.
contract, and we were able to look and realize, because I was like, here's the thing. You've put me at Johnny Cash's studio. You've put me with these artists and musicians that have played on they've won Grammys, and
Yeah.
I'm 18. So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have money to pay this off if this is where it's, because that's usually how it works, is like they put all this money into you with the understanding that they're gonna recoup it, and then you
Sure.
start making money. So for me, I'm like, they call it like a 360 deal. So for me, I'm like, shoot, like I don't know how much this is gonna be.
Yeah, I've only
And I
got
don't
90 if y'all need me to
Yeah,
go 360.
yeah. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can even give you 10. So we're gonna be so we had an attorney look over it and he found a few things on top of, like, their head of this label was going through a lot. So I think he also was like, "Okay, well, like, you know what? We're not gonna go through it with her. Like, she wants out." And I honestly can't even remember what exactly did it, but I was able to get out of it. I didn't know a single dime, and then starts my career as an independent artist in Nashville, which was a lot of things, because then you have to kind of at that point, you have to look at yourself and say, "Okay, well, what do
Mhm.
I want? Like, who am I actually? What do I want? How am I gonna get there?" I started to kind of, like, dial back and realize, like, at this point, I'm 20, 21,
Mhm.
and a lot's changed. I've grown a lot. I've matured a lot, and so I'm still kind of seeing the industry. I'm seeing what I'm being told as far as, like, what they need right now and what this person wants and what they want me to do for this and what they're expecting of me for that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not willing to do this, because for me, it's never been about anything other than I just love music. And I don't think, like, I felt like I belonged to everyone other than myself for so long,
Sure.
that when I became independent, I got to actually step back and be like, okay, wait a second. Like, I want this music. I want this message. I want this to be who I am. And it was a lot of, it brought up a lot and just like who I am. And I ended up getting to a point where I actually had to ask myself, like, "Okay, well, like, are you doing this because you want this to be your career, or are you doing this because everyone says this is your career? And are
Yeah.
you doing this because it's who you wanna be, or are you doing this because it's who everyone says you are?" And
Sure.
COVID then hits, which even becomes more of a time for, obviously, self-reflection. I mean, no one's playing shows, you're not really writing, the whole industry is kind of like, "Alright, and now we've disappeared." Like, no one has a
Yeah.
job, we're all yeah.
Yeah, hard to make money.
Yeah, we're like, "Well, alright, move back home." Um, I remember I did move back home for a short period. I mean, I still had my place in Nashville, but I moved home for a few months, and I can remember, like, it was the first time that I was actually forced to, like, look these emotions and these thoughts in the face of, like, "Okay,
Yeah.
like, what are you feeling?" Because at this point, I'm like, "I don't really know who I am. I don't really know what I want, and I don't really know where to go from here." And I did a lot of praying and a lot of just self-reflection, and I kinda realized, I was like, "I don't really know who I am," because
Yeah.
I've always been, since I was 14 years old, I've been, well, I feel like I was known as, like, the Keith Urban girl, and then I was known as, like, the Nashville girl, and then I
Sure.
was known as, like, So I was like, I don't really know who I am anymore. I feel like now I was doing all these things because it was what I was told to do, and it
Yeah.
was who I was told I was, and I didn't know who I was anymore. So then it's scary because I'm at this point where I'm like, wow, I've put all of my identity in this thing that is so temporary and can be
Mhm.
gone in a minute. So I was like, okay, what do I do? And of course I'm having like a mini panic of like, okay, like, do I actually like this? And so keep dissecting it. And I'm like, I need to take a break. Like, I need
Wow.
to just because I'm like, I wasn't happy at all. I was like, I don't even know. I'm not doing this on my terms. I'm doing this on everyone else's terms. I don't know who I want to be. And I don't even know. Like, I've just started going through the motions. I became kind of a robot of the industry, write
Yeah.
this song because they tell you to, take it back to them. No, okay. Next, write this song because they tell
Mhm.
you to, do this, go to this. And it's like, at that point, I realized, like, oh my gosh, well, then the self doubt really creeps in because I'm like, okay, well, does this mean I'm not as special without music? Like, is this why people like me because I
Mhm.
do this? Okay, well, is this why Trent is this why my boyfriend, at the time my boyfriend likes me because I'm
Yeah.
different. I was different because I did this. And oh my gosh, like, are my parents gonna it sounds ridiculous now after the fact, but at the
No,
time, I'm
but
like,
it's your whole identity is wrapped up in this.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so, at that point, that's when I was forced to strip it back to, like, okay, music to me is just it's just a passion of something that makes me feel something, and I want that for other
Yeah.
people, but it's never been about all the things that the industry's trying to make it for me.
Mhm.
And again, I know people that are still in it and they're loving it and they are so happy and they would never they haven't, but I also know a lot of people that have been in the same boat as me. So I
Yeah.
think it all just depends on who you come across. But so 2021, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. We're gonna call it a day. I don't want to touch a guitar. I don't want to do anything. So I don't
Yeah.
for I guess like almost 2 years.
Wow.
I get married, and that was even a part of it too, is, like, you would hear no one ever looked me in the eye and was like, "You can't have a boyfriend," but, I mean, I would be told, like, "Hey," like, they like a lot of times, the artists that do what better are the ones that don't have a
Mhm.
boyfriend or they don't and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, okay, I don't care. I'm not willing to listen to these things because it didn't care to get in?"
Sure.
So anyways, I decide I'm gonna focus on that, like, I'm gonna focus on I was working for a professional athlete at the time as well, like, because obviously you gotta supplement money when you're
Yeah.
working from your heart. So, I was working they're, like, the greatest family ever and still, like, some of our closest friends.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that full time, still living in Nashville. Me and Trent get engaged. We start talking about where we're gonna live. He's interviewing at places in Nashville, but I'm kind of, like, uneasy about it. I'm like, "I don't know if I wanna be in Nashville." Like, I
Mhm.
don't think I ever wanna do music again. I don't know what capacity I'll ever have it back in my life for, but I don't know. So end up, it kind of honestly, like, a lot of prayer through a lot of prayer, like, it got to a point where I felt like every opportunity he had open up in Nashville, more opened up in Birmingham. So I was like, "Okay,
Sure.
this is a sign." I had had some family stuff go down. So I was like, "You know what? I think we need to move back to Birmingham."
Yeah.
And which was so hard for me to admit because I had always said, like, "Nope, never going back there." And so we do that. We move back to Birmingham and we get married and still music, I'm like kind of bitter about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do it.
Sure.
I'm like over here, like I've spent the last 10 years doing this, or I guess at the time, like 8 years doing this. And for what? And, I'm
Yeah.
kind of frustrated and honestly kind of angry at God for giving me a dream that took so much away from me and made me feel, I'm like, I don't want to say, I mean, I was a very normal person, obviously, but like I didn't get to do a lot of normal kid things because I was doing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
such a young
You
age.
didn't go
And
to college.
I didn't go to college, all my
Yeah.
friends are going into sororities and they're doing all this, and I'm over here, 2 AM playing in a restaurant to make some money, and or I'm, like, flying across the country to play in California, and, it's like it was again, like, wouldn't trade it for the world, but I was angry at God for a while because I was like, "Why did
Yeah.
you do this? Like, what was I supposed to get from this?" And now looking back, I'm like, "I got so much from that." Like, that was the most that it was fulfilling, but I was putting a lot of the fulfillment during that time in the wrong things and my identity in the wrong things.
Sure.
So we get married and move back. Then I call this the building. I was rebuilding my life at this point because
Okay.
I'm like, what do I do now? Because I don't have a degree. So it's not like I can
Yeah.
just go and, I'm like, okay, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But it seems like there's something wrong with it when everything on LinkedIn is like college degree
You need a
required.
degree. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're like, okay. So I decide I'm going to go into real estate, which is also I kind
Yeah.
of blame Selling Sunset. It was like when that big reality show was
Sure.
big, and I'm like, anyone can be a realtor and make millions of dollars. So I do that, and not the $1,000,000 part, obviously, but I become a realtor.
You still be a
And
realtor if that
yeah,
was
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
I'd be. And I do that for a year, and it was fine, but it was just, like, not it was not the it was honestly just I feel like if I had started somewhere different, like a different place with it and had a different journey in that,
Yeah.
I might have stuck with it, but it wasn't meant to be there. So I decided I was gonna go I worked at this staffing firm, and I did that for a while up until along the whole time I'm doing these different things. I'm telling Trent, I'm like, "I just feel like I'm made for more, but I don't know what this is." Like, I'm, like,
Yeah.
praying about it, but I'm like, "I just don't know." Like, I was working at a staffing firm as in their, like, consultant division. I just took care of our
Mhm.
consultants and made sure that they were doing what they needed to do and, like, handling their deliverables on projects and meeting with their managers and stuff. And I'm like, I just feel like there's something like I was made for more. Like I do feel like the relationship piece of this is great, but I don't know what it is. I just feel like I'm made for more.
Yeah.
And I start playing music again because I'm like, you know what? It's on my terms. Like I'm happy with who I am now. Let's just see. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe that'll spark something back up. But nope, still doesn't. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is. I just didn't feel like myself. It was a really weird place to be in.
Mhm.
Well, then I get pregnant in January of 2024. And, she like, I say, like, we
Boom.
weren't expecting it. Yeah, we, like, weren't exactly expecting that to happen, but, I mean, it was in the Lord's hands, and he said, "Here you go. This is in my hands, and
Yeah.
I'll put this right in your hands."
Yeah.
We have Quinn in, September of 2024, and I will
Who?
never forget Debbie, I'm sorry.
Oh, Debbie. Debbie, your kid.
Yeah, Charlie is, calls our daughter her name is Quinn, so nobody get the wrong idea, please.
That's her government name.
Government name is Quinn James Tolbert, but Charlie and our friend group call her Debbie because of a bet during March Madness when I was pregnant with Quinn, and
I
Charlie
won.
won, so he got
I
to name
won.
her. And Debbie was way better than some of the other names he showed up at the house with when she was born, so I will
Deborah.
take
Yeah.
yeah,
Deborah
Deborah
Deborah was like playing like E, but it was
yeah.
probably it's the best, yeah.
There were a few others that we were like, "Charlie, no, like, no, 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 go back to drawing board right now." Because I was like, knowing our friend group, y'all are gonna be screaming this at her during, like, soccer
She's
games, whatever
Deborah.
sport she plays, and they're gonna be like, "Who are those weirdos calling you Deborah?" And
Yeah,
it's like,
she will always be Deborah to me.
so, but anyways, I remember and I'll never forget. I mean, obviously, the moment you, like, hold your child, it's like I will literally cry if I talk about it because it's, like, the
Yeah.
most just emotional, special thing, but I'll never forget looking at Trent, like, night 1 in the hospital, and
Mhm.
literally, I mean, it was a train wreck because she had jaundice. She's, like, screaming, crying. She had like, we were just going through it, but I remember looking at him in the middle of this, like, chaos and literally saying, like, "This is what I've been talking about. Like, this is what I was made
Mhm.
for. Like, this is the more that I've been looking for."
Yeah.
And I feel like I credit so much of my journey. Yes, there was so much confusion. Yes, there was so much, but it was like, to me, I look at it as like all of these lessons that I learned from the Lord about who I am and learning about actually trusting in Him and actually putting my identity in Him and then Him
Yeah.
delivering you something that maybe you weren't expecting. And like, it's something that like, you can, I found a letter that I wrote to myself in 2015 and it was like, it was said, "Dear future me," and it said, "Open in
Yeah.
2025," and I read it this year, and I had written basically the guideline to success of what I thought was success for me when I was 15 writing
Sure.
it, and it was so full circle to, like, be sitting here, like, holding Quinn and be like, "Man, this is where I'd put all of my, you know, what I thought was gonna be success for me and what I thought was gonna be like, I'd have it all figured out by now at 20 now I'm 26, but I thought 25 was like, you're gonna know everything, you're gonna have all
Yeah.
of it figured out. I'm
Oh,
like
that'd be awesome.
yeah, I'm like, I was literally reading that with, like, stains on my shirt, my hair's in a rat's nest, like, my nails are like my nails right now, like, I picked all my nails off today, like, it's just you think of that as so I just say that to say, like, your journey, no matter what it is, whether it's a journey that you are on from the beginning and you stay on that path or whether it's like mine where you think that you're gonna be the next big thing like Taylor Swift, like, "Taylor Swift who? No, Bailey." Like, you like, success, I think, is such an evolution of things, and
Yeah.
you learn that, like, success for you is so different from someone else, and that's so good. Praise God for that. Like,
Yeah.
my version of success can be so different from someone else, but that doesn't mean that my success is better or their success is better. It just means that it's
Sure.
different. And like
Yeah.
what I credit a lot of that chapter of my life, when at first I was bitter like towards it, I was upset with the Lord because I was like, why did you do this to me? What was the point of this? I could have
Yeah.
saved a lot of time. I feel like I learned an appreciation for myself. It's made me who I am for a lot of reasons. I mean, I feel like I had to grow up super fast and experience different things. And on top of that, it's taught me to appreciate people in a different way and to appreciate different people in a different way and to
Mhm.
also be able to say like my journey's so different from your journey and that's such a great thing. Like let's celebrate yours, let's celebrate mine. And it just has honestly taught me a lot of grace and a lot about you just don't know what someone's going through. You don't know what their journey is. You don't know, what's going on good in their life or what's going on bad in their life. So I feel like, yes, I was bitter at first, but now I'm so thankful for what it taught me. And I'm so thankful that the Lord put me in these position to be able to have a story where I realized that my identity was not where it needed to be,
Yeah.
and, like, wow, look at my life now that I do not have it figured out in the least bit, but, like, it's like, I just feel like music, it took me on such a different journey of self-discovery and such a different journey of realizing, what I thought mattered and what I thought was so cool and so important and what I thought was success and what I thought would, make me feel fulfilled, but I'll tell you, I've stood on some of the coolest stages and I've been in the room with some of the coolest people,
Mhm.
but I still felt so empty and I still felt, I don't know what, it was such a moment of like, why am I here? Why me? I don't know why me. Like, I'm not even happy here. There's so many people that would kill to be in this position. And for me, this isn't it. And
Yeah.
I think that's what for me, when I realized I really looked in the mirror and was like, who are you and what do you want? And that was when it was like, here I am. So I don't know. I think my journey was a lot of ups and a lot of really high highs, but a lot of really low lows. But I'm thankful for every single one of them because it taught me so much about just life,
Yeah.
honestly. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm grateful for it.
Well, that's awesome. I think you have such a unique perspective that a lot of people just don't get to hear, and then like to say, I think it's cool to be like, yeah, I was there. Like I was where a lot of people want to be, and like it wasn't everything. I just think
Hmm.
it's really I think like you getting to have that perspective in your like late teens, early 20s is like so beneficial when you're going to be like, in your 40s or 50s and like, like I'm content and like this life is great and like we don't have to have everything that we think we have to have. So,
Yeah. And I
I think
think
that's
we
so
have
cool.
such a society. It's so normal now with social media and just all this stuff to feel like you need to have the best of this to be seen as cool or successful, or
Sure.
you need to have this, or you need to do this, or you need to be here by this milestone. And I think I look at things now and I'm like, I get it. No one's wrong for having those thoughts. No one's wrong. I mean, we're all there. But I've never been more fulfilled and more happy than when I'm literally sitting on this playroom floor that is so disgusting right now. I'm like, literally, like, I've got to vacuum and I've got to organize this. This is embarrassing. Just staring at my daughter who thinks I'm so cool.
Yeah.
Literally, I have no makeup on. My, I, I probably haven't even brushed my teeth that morning yet. Like, and she's like, this is it. Like, look at my mom. Like, look at what, and I just think I'm so thankful because of the journey that I had that I'm able to sit here and be like soaking all this up and know that like I could be a million other places in the world. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think if I'd stuck with it, I could have gone really cool places maybe. I don't know, who knows? Maybe not, but like it doesn't matter because it wasn't meant for me and that's okay.
Sure.
And
Sure. But also like you made the decision like it's not worth sacrificing what I want to have, like what I want it to sound like or what I want it to look like or like what I value just to
mhm,
get to that place. Like I, want to stand firm on that. I think is also like
yeah.
commendable.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a lot of like, I made promises to myself when I was like 14 of like, I'm not going to be a Lindsay Lohan lover. Her comeback has been
She's coming
so
back, yeah.
incredible. She looks amazing. I'm proud of her. But I was like, I'm not going to
But
be
yeah,
Lindsay
but when
Lohan.
you were 14, that
Yeah. When I was
yeah,
14, Lindsay Lohan, I think she'd shaved her head. So like, or maybe that was Britney. I don't know. But like, I just feel like I just, there were so many things that I told myself I would never, ever back down for,
yeah,
and I got to a point where in my journey they were expecting that of me and I was like, well, this, it's never been about, I don't want to be famous. A lot of people will sell, I don't want to say sell out, and not everyone that's out there is selling out, I want to say that, but like there's a lot of people that will because it's what they want, and I'm like, I
Sure.
just don't care, you know? So, yeah.
That's incredible. Well, Bailey, I can't thank you enough for jumping on, and I really think your story is so cool. I want to ask you two things before we wrap up. First one is just, I don't know, I just think this is cool. You have got to like play places though, like whether or not you're still doing it. And I get to see you play here in Birmingham, every once in a while. And it also go follow Bailey Ingle Tolbert on Facebook, and you can go to her next her next venue in
Yeah.
Birmingham. But what I just want to know, like when you were in Nashville, like your time in Nashville, maybe it's in that city or maybe it's not. Do you have like a cool place that you're like, that's the coolest place I've played for sure?
Yeah, for sure. I played at the Bluebird Cafe once.
No way.
And that is, I mean, it's just iconic for all the things that it's done. Like,
That
I know a lot of
rocks.
people know it because of Taylor Swift, but like for me, it's like, I mean, people that you don't even know their name. I'm not saying like you, Charlie, people you wouldn't even know. No, but like people that like I would have never known until I was really like in the like heart of songwriting.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting in a room full of people that have written songs for you name them, you know, and like your idols, and you're sitting there, and I think that's what's cool for me is there have been people up on that stage, or you can do it up. They like have different ways to do it. If you're doing a writer's round, it's like in the round, you know.
That's so
But
cool.
people that have been in those chairs, and they are, I mean, they've written every song that you've probably, you know, whether it's a memory of you just ride in your Forerunner with Christmas lights that I always thought were so cool.
Thank you.
But
Still
like
do it. Still
you
do it.
still do it. Don't ever stop. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where that's probably the most iconic for me because it's like, man, the
That's
people that
cool.
have been in these chairs are people that have written all of the songs to my life and to my parents'
Yeah.
life. And it's really cool to me. So I would say that in Nashville is the place.
That was okay. Look, at the end of the day, that's a little bit of a flex that you've gotten to play there.
Thank
Like
you.
you can
Thank
hang
you.
your hat on that one. And I think it's fun like when you're a parent. I'm not a parent, but I think it's fun that one day Debbie gets to say, "Yeah, well, my mom played at the Bluebird Cafe." So,
It's actually funny you said that. The other day I was like telling Trent how like it's so funny to me to think like, because I lead worship at church, and so I was like, I don't know what it was, but I was like, it's kind of funny. Quinn's in the back room right now. Not that like, I mean, it's all about God at church. It's not about me at all. But like, I'm like, Quinn's in the back room, like probably screaming in the nursery because she does not do well in that. She's a very anxious child when it comes to leaving her mom. And so I'm like, she's probably pitching a fit back there. And I'm up here like worshiping God. And I'm like, you know, like up on stage. And she's like, what? So, but it's funny. I haven't even really thought about that though, of like all the stories I'll get to tell her. And I do have
yeah,
like a box where it's like all of my music stuff of just like articles and different things to
that's
show
cool.
my kids one day. But it was cool for sure.
That is cool. Maybe one day we'll get a Southern Fried special and you can take us through the box.
Yes, yes, yes.
Maybe one day if I get a Patreon, that could be some exclusive content that we do.
Absolutely. That's a great yes. It'll be for
That's
sure.
All right, and then last question, and then we can wrap up. I like to ask my guests to end every show. I think there's a lot of people out there in the South that are really cool. If you were the host of Southern Fried and you had to ask somebody to come on the show, who would you want to be a guest on Southern Fried?
Okay, and it's anybody
Well, yeah, anybody that you can tie to the South.
that can tie to the South.
Yeah.
You want to know who my first thought just was?
I want to know. I do want to know.
Craig. I don't know why.
That's
Father-in-law was my first thought.
Father-in-law.
I was like, Craig. I want Craig. I do think Craig would be great.
boy. Like he's an
I was gonna say
boy.
Southern.
Yeah.
Like he has a lot of layers that I don't think people would expect and know. But okay, no. But I think anyone I could tie to the South. I mean, I don't know. This is a hard question. Okay, honestly, I don't know why I'm only thinking of personal people right now.
That's fine. That's great. That's great.
I think if I was the host, I would for sure have my dad on. But you had your dad on, didn't you? You had your mom on. I just feel like my dad is like a true blue, like he grew up in Hueytown. He has some of the craziest stories when he tells them that I'm like, man, this is when I think when people hear of like the South, I think I would say my dad.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna say I would like to ask him one day, and maybe you can nudge him to say yes.
Okay, yeah. I think yeah.
And your father-in-law. Maybe I'll just have like a
have a Bailey Tolbert family special.
Yeah.
Throw Trent in while you're at it.
Yeah, all the dads. He's a dad.
Yeah, hey, yeah, it's what you could do for Father's Day. Just do the Tolbert Father's Day
Oh
special.
my God, a Father's Day special.
No, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, a really good one, but, like, for some reason, those are the 2 that I'm like,
Well, I think those are the people, like, I genuinely asked the question because, like, I want to know people who just, like, make up the South. And if, like, when it comes to your mind that, like, your father-in-law and your dad are 2 people that just make up the South, and I think it's, like, the perfect answer.
See, okay, I will say, I don't think of, like, Craig when I think of the South.
Sure.
I think that was just, like, he would have an interesting perspective. But I would say
he's a funny guy.
my dad, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Well, Bailey, thank you for joining. I can't thank you enough for saying yes.
Of course.
And recording this with us. We went a little long, and
yeah.
Sorry,
that's
okay
my
with
fault.
that. No.
Always.
No.
I'll talk to the
okay.
wall.
Well, good. Well, thank you for
Not
joining.
that you're a wall, but you know.
And we're not like another peek behind the curtain. Like, you were invited to an event tonight that you can't make anymore. So I will just want to say I will miss you tonight when you're not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Maybe I'll make a special appearance. Don't hold your breath because I might, but I might not. But don't tell anyone because it'll be our surprise
keep it a secret.
if I show up at the door.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Bailey. Thanks for joining.
Of course.
And that concludes this episode of Southern Fried. If you guys enjoyed it, do me one favor right now. Click the share link, throw it on your Instagram story, or maybe tweet it out or something. Just tell people about this. Or you know what? Even just text it to one friend and let them know about Southern Fried. Getting to interview a good friend like Bailey is so fun because we get to, I get to hear more about her life, but also, I know enough that we get to just kind of really just talk with my friend for a while, and it's just so fun. So I appreciate if you guys would share this episode because I think it turned out really well. If you would, just continue to support the show. Let me know if there's any guests that you guys want to be on. I literally asked Bailey because people were telling me how much she should be on and how cool it would be. So that that really goes a long way, and I love hearing from people about who we should get. Thank you for supporting Southern Fried, for listening on this journey, and y'all come on back.